Members of this committee, please turn your attention to the video screens.
Jim Jordan didn't argue. He didn't interrupt. He just pressed play. What followed left the room silent as footage of shootings, carjackings, and chaos rolled across the screen. While Democrats blamed everything else, one video forced a question nobody in that hearing wanted to answer.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
You believe in open borders and complete chaos. Did you notice the bipartisan support in the chamber? As the video was played, everybody was clapping in that chamber. If I were in Congress in 1995, I would have also stood. Because I wasn't, I stand here today. Other than President Donald J. Trump, the greatest president in my lifetime with the most safest and secure border, I believe President Clinton understood just how important border security is to our nation. But boy, oh boy, have times changed. 28 years later, the left has gone off the rails. They've gone completely nuts. They've done just the opposite of what the leader of the Democrat Party, President Clinton, stood for on border security in 1995. This committee's ranking member, he was in Congress in 1995. I assume he stood. It seemed like the majority, if not all of the entire chamber, they stood. Matter of fact, Mr. Clinton delivered his speech in the third year of his first term, and he was reelected in 1996. He beat Bob Dole, won by over 8 million votes, won the Electoral College 379 to 159. He had the support of the American people, and I'm going to assume the ranking member also voted for Bill Clinton in 1996. We have two other members, Ms. Jackson and Ms. Lofgren. They were both freshmen at the time. I will assume they stood during that powerful speech as well. And do you know why they supported and voted? They voted for legislation in 1996 strengthening our immigration laws. I applaud them for that. So what's changed, folks? What's changed with the Democrat Party? I'll tell you what's changed. If you wouldn't have heard President Clinton's voice or seen his face, you would have thought Donald Trump delivered that speech. I don't believe that President Clinton was called a racist, a white supremacist who hated immigrants, as the left and the dishonest media has painted Donald J. Trump to be. I have a report from the Heritage Foundation titled, "Tracking Movement of Illegal Aliens from NGOs to Interior of the USA." Why do you think NGOs have moved illegal immigrants to 431 of the 435 congressional districts? The truth is, hear me, it's because the Democrats' progressive policies are not acceptable to Americans. Heritage obtained a sampling of approximately 30,000 cell phones that were tracked to NGOs along border states. They tracked approximately 22,000 devices at 20 NGO locations in January 2022. The same devices were later traced to 431 separate U.S. congressional districts, and of the 52 with the highest rate of tracked devices, 71 of them were Republican congressional districts. The report revealed that it's not a coincidence, folks. The flood of illegal immigrants means a continued rise in surplus laborers. That surplus drives down the wages of existing middle-class and lower-class job holders until they leave the job forces, and then they're forced to go on welfare with the hopes that they will become loyal supporters of the Democrats. That's what this is all
gun
about.
violence in Chicago without talking about Indiana. Because the violence and the mothers that we have to comfort are losing children due to the guns and the carnage and the lawlessness unleashed by those states. I move on. For context, the NRA spent about $250 million in 2020 alone. That's more than twice the entire salary of Congress combined in 1 year, lobbying against gun safety laws. There's also this discussion about anything but a gun, but that these are about violent people, but yet we aren't doing anything about addressing the actual root causes of misogyny, where 2/3 of mass shootings are connected to domestic violence, or the emergence of white supremacy radicalization, mass.
The hearing in Philadelphia was expected to follow the usual script: speeches about gun control, partisan accusations, and familiar talking points. Then, Jim Jordan changed the tone with one move. He asked for a video to be played. The room went silent as news clips flashed across the screen. Shootings, robberies, carjackings, children caught in gunfire, neighborhoods describing violence as part of daily life. It wasn't commentary. It was footage from the city itself. Jordan's message was direct. The issue, he argued, wasn't a lack of new laws. It was a failure to enforce the laws already on the books. He pointed to rising violent crime under Larry Krasner and tied it to what he called soft-on-crime prosecution. He also highlighted the 2020 budget cuts to the Philadelphia Police Department, arguing that reducing police funding while loosening prosecutions created the conditions for the surge. Democrats pushed back, saying Republican hearings focused on political theater rather than solutions, and argued that gun access remains central to the violence problem. But Jordan's strategy wasn't another speech. It was the footage itself. That changed the room, because statistics can be debated, narratives can be spun, but a stream of local news reports showing repeated violence hits differently. The hearing became bigger than one city. Jordan used Philadelphia to make a national argument. When leaders stop prioritizing prosecution and public safety, communities pay the price. And for a few minutes, no one interrupted, because the screen was speaking for itself.